All right, this is the homework solutions for 7.3. So for number 29, go ahead and use the inverse cosine on both sides. So that cancels out with the cosine. You got 2 theta is equal to, so let's figure out the inverse cosine of -1/2. So we know that cosine is for x over r. Okay, you got that? So you can just go ahead and draw 2 different triangles using the x equals to -1 and r equals to 2. So you can go ahead and draw the one in quadrant 2 because this is -1 over here and then 2 for the radius. Do the same thing over here for the quadrant 3. That's -1, radius equals to 2. So knowing that this triangle has a central angle equals to 60 degrees, so if you count from the 0 degree, that tells you that it's going to be 120 for the theta. So you don't want to go ahead and say it's 120. You want to say it's 2 theta equals to 120 because we have 2 theta, okay? All right, so now for this one, it's going to be 240. So that means 2 theta equals to 240. So you're going to have to go for the second spin of the unit circle. So you want to, instead of using 120, you have to add another one, which is 360, because later on we're going to have to divide it by 2. Okay, so we got to have to divide it by 2 to isolate theta. So this is going to be 480. So you're going to have to also include 2 theta equals to 480. And another one is to add another 360. So it's 600. So it's going to be 2 theta equals to 600. So we're going to go ahead and solve for it. So divided by 2 on both sides. You got theta equals to 60. That's going to be one of your solutions. And another one is going to be a 120. So for the green ones, divided by 2, you got theta equals to 240. Divided by 2, you got theta equals to 300. So all these are going to be your answers, okay? Not just the first 2, but also the 240 and the 300, because everything is between 0 and 2 pi. So number 31, it's similar to the previous question. So let me go ahead and put the inverse secant on both sides. So I have 3 theta over 2 equals to inverse secant of -2. So I'm going to put -2 as in a ratio of 2 over -1 because I know that secant is r over x. Okay, so which tells you that your radius is going to be 2, your x is going to be -1. And this is the same triangle that I'm going to be drawing as number 29. So it's going to be 2 triangles over here. So one of them is going to be 120. Another one is going to be 240. Okay, so 3 theta over 2 equals to 120. 3 theta over 2 is going to be 240. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 2 over 3. 2 over 3 on both sides. So theta is actually going to equal to 80 degrees. Another one, if you multiply by 2 over 3 on both sides, you're actually going to get theta equals to 160 degrees. Okay, so the job is not done. We gotta have to do a little more than that. So we have to try and see if the second spin of the cotangent angles are also going to be part of our solutions. So let's try adding 360 and see what happened here. So I'm going to get 480, and if you add 360, you're going to get 600. So 3 theta over 2 equals to 480, and then 3 theta over 2 is going to equal to 600. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 2/3 on both sides and see what's up. Okay, so I'm going to get 320 degrees, and that's going to be my answer as well because it's below 360. And I'm going to multiply by 2/3. So theta is going to equal to 400. Okay, so we're only going to be taking answers between 0 and 360. So I'm going to take this one, but the 80, 160, 320 are going to be my answers. All right, so let's check out number 59. So when you factor this, you want to factor it, you want to factor out the cosine theta. So you're going to get 2 cosine theta plus 1, and that equals to 0. Okay, I'm going to put parentheses over here as well. So you know that due to the zero product property, you have to set each factor equals to 0. Okay, so that tells you that cosine theta equals to 0. Okay, so you know that cosine is x. Okay, so which means that when x equals to 0, you're actually going to have 2 different measures. So you're going to get one over here. This is where x equals to 0. Another one, this is also x equals to 0. So you got 90 degrees and 270 degrees. Okay, so your theta is going to equal to 90 and 270. Ugly. So 270. All right, so that's your first 2 answers. Now we're not done. Let's check out the other one. So use a different color. So we have 2 cosine theta plus 1 equals to 0. So I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides, cancel out 2 cosine theta equals to -1 divided by 2 on both sides and see what's up here. So cosine theta equals to -1/2. So -1/2. We know that this is x over r. Okay, so that means x equals to -1. Okay, -1, and then radius equals to 2. So that means that you can draw 2 different triangles, and then we're gonna take both of them, okay, as our answers. So one of them is gonna be 120 over here. Another one is gonna be 240. So 120 and 240 degrees are going to be part of my answers as well. Okay, so that's it. Check out number 63. So set each one equals to 0. All right, so we got tangent theta equals to, you're going to add 1 on both sides. So tangent theta equals to 1. Add 1 on both sides. So secant theta equals to 1 as well. Okay, we know that tangent is y over x, right? So which means that you'll be able to draw the triangle like that. So it's going to be 1, which is y, 1 for x, so it's going to be a 45 degree. So one of them is going to be 45 degrees. Okay, there's another one. So it's going to be in quadrant 3. We're going to take that one as well. This is different from my from the 7.1, 7.2. We're only going to take one of the 2 quadrants, but here we're going to be taking all the measures. So we're going to have -1 over -1. Okay, that also gives you a ratio of +1. So this one is actually going to be 225 degrees. So 225 is going to be part of my answers. Okay, we're not done there. So let's check out the other one. So secant theta equals to 1. You know that secant is r over x. Okay, which means that 1 is 1 over 1. Okay, so which means that your radius is going to be 1 and your x is going to be 1, which means that this is going to be the only measure that we're going to get. So it's 0 degrees. So theta equals to 0 degree. Okay, so 3 measures for 63. Check out number 71. So what you're going to do here is to subtract 2 sine theta. Subtract 2 sine theta. Okay, so I'm going to get tangent theta minus 2 sine theta, which equals to 0. So you want to set one side equals to 0. If you guys see all the questions, I'm setting one side equals to 0. Okay, so now I'm going to factor out the sine. So we know that tangent can be rewriting it as sine over cosine, right? So I'm going to write sine theta over cosine theta. All right, so I'm going to factor out the sine theta, okay, from these 2 terms. So I'm going to get 1 over cosine theta minus 2, okay, which equals to 0. Okay, so we know that 1 over cosine theta is basically cosecant, so I'm going to erase that and check. I'm going to put, not cosecant, but secant. Okay, so that's going to be secant. And then I'm going to put in the parentheses here to tell myself that each factor is going to equal to 0. Okay, so sine theta is equal to 0, and that's work on that one. So that's pretty much saying that y equals to 0, right? Because you know that sine theta is basically y. It's technically y over r, okay? So if it's equal to 0 means that my y is equal to 0. Okay, so when y equals to 0, you're getting two different measures. One is going to be right here, okay, where the 0 degree is. Another one is going to be right here, where the 180 degrees is. Okay, so that means that your theta for sine is going to be 0 and 180. Okay, we're not done, so let's check out another one. So here is another one. So secant theta minus 2. So secant theta minus 2 equals to 0. We're going to add 2 on both sides. So we got secant theta equals to 2. Okay, and then you know that the secant is r over x. Okay, so you want to think of it as 2 over 1. It tells you that your r is going to equal to 2, your x is going to equal to 1. Okay, so that gives you another two different measures. So we got right here, x equals to 1, x equals to 1, okay, r equals to 2. Okay, so this is a 60-degree angle. This one is a 300-degree angle. So you're going to have to include those two. So theta equals to 60 and 300 degrees. So you got 4 different measures as your answers. Yep, that's it. Peace out.